Recapping the first round of the NFL draft, at number 1 overall, there were no surprises. Cam Ward went to the Titans. At number 2, though, the Jaguars made a huge splash, trading up for Travis Hunter, pairing him up with Brian Thomas Jr. He could play two positions, so that extra first round pick from next year that they gave away might just be worth it. At number 3 overall, the Giants, they resist the temptation to draft a quarterback and go with Abdul Carter, creating one of the best pass rush combinations, the best three in the league potentially. At number 4 overall, the Patriots select Will Campbell, offensive tackle, to help support Drake May and protect him in the pocket as he continues to develop. At 5th overall, since the Browns moved down, they miss out on some of the blue chip guys, but they still get one of them in Mason Graham to fill out the interior next to Myles Garrett. At number 6 overall, the Raiders select Ashton Genty, as I and many others have been mocking them all offseason. Should be a huge splash move for them. At number 7, the Jets select Armand Membu, making a tackle duo between him and Fashanu. That should be good for protecting Justin Fields. At number 8 overall, the Panthers select T-Mac to be Bryce Young's number 1 wide receiver. And at number 9 overall, the Saints select Kelvin Banks Jr. to help finally rebuild this offensive line that was one of the worst in the league after injuries last year. And number 10 overall, the Bears certainly shocked me, taking Colston Loveland out of Michigan, the receiving tight end, when Tyler Warren was still on the board, and I thought they could have considered a running back here. Definitely one of the more shocking picks of the draft. And at number 11, the 49ers end up taking Michael Williams, the edge with a ton of upside. He can learn from Nick Bosa. I think if you're starting from scratch with edge, maybe you don't want to take a developmental guy. But for the 49ers, I think this makes a lot of sense. Definitely could work out. And then the Cowboys kind of surprised me as well. They end up taking Tyler Booker at guard. You know, there were a lot of positions like even like a guy like Tyler Warren, Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan could have been good picks here, but they end up going with offensive line instead of other splash positions like wide receiver, defense. So, you know, make of that what you will, but they always seem to draft offensive line well. And then the Dolphins end up taking Kenneth Grant to beef up that interior, as they obviously have had issues all over their defense. And I guess this is where they wanted to start. To me, I thought corner, edge, maybe offensive line was a bigger need, but this is what they decided to do. At 14, the Colts end up with their dream scenario in Tyler Warren, who actually falls to them thanks to the Bears for taking Colston Loveland. Very many years that they've had issues at tight end, and they finally get an answer. At 15, the Falcons, they go with one of the two Georgia guys that I thought they would keep home in Jalen Walker. Since Michael Williams was gone, I had them taking Michael Williams. They end up going with Jalen Walker. Very similar thing there. Should be a great place to start for them. And then at number 16, the Cardinals end up taking Walter Nolan to put him next to Darius Robinson on the interior of their defensive line to help out Jonathan Gannon.